Hi guys, welcome to COSC100 tutorial 3, exercise number 3. So in this exercise, again, we're following on from an example that I presented in lecture 6. We're going to extract all three numeric components from a number sequence containing some separator characters. So this is a fairly typical operation that you might need to carry out on data when extracted from enterprise systems. So you might have some phone numbers you might need to get area codes for, or you might have addresses that you need to get postcodes from. All of these are examples where you'll need to decompose or extract components out of sequences of text. So in today's exercise, you'll be extracting all three number components from the inquiry number field that's presented in the starting worksheet for this one. So you can see over here in column A, we've got our inquiry number, and there's actually three number components. There's a component to the left-hand side of this hyphen. You can see that all four example records actually contain this component. You've got a component between the hyphen and an opening bracket, and then you've got a component within a set of brackets there. So you've got three components to remove. Now, this exercise is slightly more complicated than the previous one because we have to actually start by locating where all of these separator characters are in our fields. Now we're going to do that straight up for all three characters. So in this situation, we're going to go and use the search function to search for these characters. So if we start, and again we'll work through in a series of steps, creating intermediate results that we can then put together into a single formula later on for a single cell. So we start by locating the hyphen character, and we'll do that using the search command. So if we type in search, we can see that we want to find the hyphen character. So we're going to enter in a string that contains the hyphen character, and we want to find it within this field here. So we close off our formula. And you can see, oops, we're actually one cell too high here, so I'll just copy that and paste it into the next one down. Sorry about that, guys, and delete that one. So we'll go, we'll call this cell hyphen location, hyphen location. And if we fill that down, we can see immediately that it's found the number of characters from the left that the hyphen character sits in. So you can see it's 3, 4, 8, and 3 respectively there. Next, we're actually going to go and locate the opening bracket separator. So we'll create a field called opening bracket location. And again, we'll use the search function. So search, enter search. The search text we're after is the opening bracket, followed by the text we're actually going to search in, which is our A1 cell. And again, if we fill that down, we can find the location of that opening bracket in each one. So it's different, but it's the same formula applied across all of them. Now, that should get us started. That should be enough to get us started, actually. So we might start by actually grabbing the first component on the left-hand side of our number. So we're going to grab the first number component to the left-hand side of the hyphen. And again, we're going to do that in a series of steps. Actually, we can do that in basically one step because we've already calculated our location of our hyphen. So we can go through and we can use the left function to go that. So we'll call this column component 1. Make that a little bit wider. And we're going to start by grabbing everything on the left-hand side up into the hyphen. So if we go and drop in left, we want to grab, this is the text we're operating on, and the number of characters over we're going to go is to the hyphen character. Now, you can see that that's kind of got what we want, but we've actually still got the hyphen character in there as well, and we don't want that hyphen character because it's just a separator. So if we do something fun by going one character back to the right by putting a -1 on this. This is the number of characters from the left. We're immediately going to cut that out, and we can fill that same formula down, and we can extract that first component for each one. So to reiterate there, what we've done is we've used the left function to get the number of characters from the left up to the hyphen character, which is at the location that we specified in our intermediate calculation over here in column B. And because we don't want to include the hyphen in our string, we subtract 1 from that number because we want to get everything to the location 1 before the hyphen. So you fill that down. So we've actually got component number 1 all sorted. So now we can start working on component number 2. Now, component number 2 is a little bit more tricky because it's sitting between 2 separator characters. So we're actually going to start by grabbing everything to the left of the opening bracket. So we're going to grab all of this component here. Now there's a few different ways you can do this. This is just the method that I'm going to use. So I'm going to need, this is going to require multiple steps to get this one. So I'm going to create a column called step 1. And I'm going to follow the same pattern that we used to get component number 1 by using the left function, again on our source text. And I'm going to use the, I'm going to take it up to the location of the opening bracket. And again, because I don't want to include the opening bracket, so you can see if I don't put the -1 in there, I'll get the opening bracket again. Because I don't want the opening bracket, I'm going to put a -1 in there. So you can see if I fill that down, I've got that component that I need there. Now, the next step is a slightly tricky one. I'm actually going to have to use the right function to extract this component. Oops. To extract the component numbers on the right hand side. So to get the second component, create another field called step 2. Step 2. And here, oops, sorry. Step 2. And here I'm going to use the right function. Now the right function basically does the opposite to the left function. It gets a number of characters from the right hand side. So in this situation, I'm going to have to do some mathematics to work out how many numbers, how many positions the hyphen is from the right hand side. So recall down here we use the search function to figure out how far it is from the left hand side, but we want to find out how far it is from the right hand side so we can count back and get the right number of characters from the right side. Now to do that, we're actually going to need to calculate the length of our overall field in here. So what we'll ultimately do is calculate the length and then subtract the number of characters from the left-hand side that the hyphen sits in. So we'll do that using the length function. So if we go and use the length function, len, all we need to do is put one argument into that, and we've got the length of that field. So we'll call that, we'll actually re-enable that, we'll call it length. Now we can actually go and use the right function and some mathematics. Actually, no, we'll do another step in here. We'll go and find the location of the hyphen character from the right-hand side. So we'll call this field lock. We'll call it right. And now we'll go and we'll actually work out how many characters from the right this hyphen is. And all we have to do that is actually take the length. So this one's going to be equal to the length minus the location of this one. So you can see that the location of the hyphen is actually, the location of the first character after the hyphen is actually 5 characters along in that situation. And if we fill that down, you can see that that's going to be correct in all situations there. So we've found the location from the right-hand side, so the number of places from the right that the last character before the hyphen is there by subtracting the length of the overall string, the length of the step 1 intermediate result from, we subtracted the location from that length to get that number. Now all we need to do to get our component 2, is jump through and actually grab the right number of characters. So we're grabbing the right, right. Where are we? Oh, sorry, I haven't put the equals in there. Oopsie daisy. So I'm going to grab the right characters from that one. And you can see that we've now extracted the middle component. So that's fairly straightforward once you break it all down into a series of steps. So that gives us our middle component, or component number 2. Now the final component is this nice little one that sits between the brackets here. Now we've actually found the location of the opening bracket. So again, we can actually go and perform a similar operation here to what we did before by using the right function. So we can actually grab everything to the right of that location. So if we go through to get component number 3, so it'll still require 2 steps, as you'll see. So if we call this one step 1, and if we grab everything to the right, on this number here of our locations, this again is going to need to be, we're actually going to need to calculate a length to do this, aren't we? So we need to actually get everything, in order to get the number of steps from the right, we're going to have to subtract this location from the total length. So if this one's, for example, this is actually going to end up being 13 characters long, we'll need to subtract the 9 from the 13 to get the location of that one. So we need to do, again, we need some intermediate results. So we'll call this field length. And we'll go through, and we just need to grab the length of our overall string here. So you can see it's 13 characters long. So now we can go through, I'll just condense some of these down so I can get this one all on the field, all on the spreadsheet for you. And now we can go through and actually get the number of steps from the right hand side. So it's 13 characters in total, and we'll need to step back to the location of this one here. So if we go create another field called right, it's going to be equal to the length minus the location of that from the left. So recall that this location is the number of characters that this hyphen is from the left. So you can see we've turned it around. Now we can just perform a right operation. To grab from this number of characters. Ooh, I put that in the wrong cell, but I'll finish the formula off. Just copy and paste the contents into the next cell down. Sorry about that, guys. Clear that out. And so you can see here that we've almost got this correct, but we've still got this closing hyphen to remove. So if we fill that one down, we'll call that step 1. Now there's a few ways that we can remove this, but I'm just going to use the left formula. So we just go left. Oops. And if we just grab the left characters from this one, and if we go length minus 1, it'll get everything except for the last character. So what we're doing there is we're grabbing the leftmost characters except for the last one. So the length minus 1 characters. So if the length of this is 4, we're going back and subtracting 1 from that to 3. If this length is 5, we subtract 1 and get the 4. So when we fill that down, you can see that immediately we've grabbed that final component. So by doing that, we've actually broken down our series of steps. Now I'm not going to condense that into a final formula because I want you to be able to see all of the working that's been performed to get to each step, to get each component out. And if I ask you any questions on that, you're free to leave the steps in there as well. So you can see that by breaking each component down, by breaking the process down for each component, it becomes much more simpler to complete our task. But if you want to, you can actually go through and actually nest all of those formulas into each other in order to achieve that. So I'll leave that up to you to complete in your own time, and if you have any questions about that exercise, please let me know, and make sure you review my solution to this one as well. Thanks, guys.